Due to social distancing, the part of the 12-man Fan Jam Show crowd will be played by one man clapping alone in a room.
And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mosette, and here is your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mosette. I am Moses, and welcome to episode 805, the July 2020 edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, as our Seahawks get ready to take on, I don't know, the offseason, the new season. Is there going to be a season? We'll find out. So please keep your hands inside the movie vehicle at all times, put your tray table up and your seat back into full upright position, grab a desired beverage or sin of your choice, and just so you know, if you think the 49ers are going to run off with the division this year, July. We have an action-packed show tonight. So much show. It's unbelievable, the show we have. So let's get right to it. Of course, we'll introduce the posse. First, the triumphant return of my partner in crime will not be happening this evening. That is Matt from Merry Old England. Matt is not with us. He did leave a message. He said, if anyone asks where I am, I'm in Green Bay, comfort eating with Aaron Rodgers. Breakups, even fake ones, deserve ice cream. So if you don't know, Aaron Rodgers and his wife, his girlfriend, the race car driver, they broke up. So Matt is comforting him. And we all know what Matt thinks of Aaron Rodgers. We won't go into that, but Matt has a particular theory about Aaron Rodgers that we will not discuss at this point. But we do have a full posse this evening. First, our news hound, Shadowhawk Will, is here. Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses. How are you?
Fantastic. Will, I finally watched the final episode of Star Wars this week. And I know you're a bit of a fan, and I just got to say, I really think this Star Wars thing is going to be a big deal, so you might want to catch into it. I don't want to ruin the ending, but I had no idea Chewbacca and Princess Leia were lovers. That was all new to me. Did you have a cat issue today, Matt? Will?
Well, kind of. She, for no reason, fell backwards off the kitchen counter.
Interesting. You got to stop giving her the catnip, man.
I know, she's trying to quit.
Yeah, well, you know, in these times, who's going to quit anything? Speaking of someone who never quits, there's Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How's Kona, our 12th man Fan Jam Show mascot?
Well, Lindsay and the kids are out of town. So Kona has been dealing with being back in prison all week. So when I go to work, she's in the kennel. And that's been an adjustment. She tried to hide from me one day so she didn't have to go in there. She's tried to break out a few times. Today when I came home, she somehow got her tray out of it in half of her bed. I have no idea how it happened, but she did. Well, breaking out of prison, that's why she's our mascot right there. Yeah.
I mean, enough said. And we do have a special guest this evening, truly awesome and legitimate star, a regular at the round table and writer from the TV show Chelsea Lately, manager of a seafood shop on the Showtime series Shameless, New York Times bestselling author, star in Insatiable, a show on Netflix. I could go on and on. A hilarious comedian. And oh, by the way, she just happens to be married to the legendary former Seahawk punter, Jon Ryan. Please welcome to the show, Sarah Colonna. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really like the sad social distancing clapping guy. Really.
He's very sad when he does it too. You should see his face. It brings
me back to when I first started doing stand-up comedy, you know, just like one person in the audience, just like, okay, I guess we'll clap for you.
And they're probably a relative.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. My dad always.
And then there's an agent in the back. And when you get done,
I like that. It brings.
When you get done, your agent comes over. There's just one person in the audience and they go, well, I think that went real well. That went great.
Yeah, no, they would just leave. They wouldn't even come over to me. They would just exit through the back and be like, I'll talk to you in a few weeks. But, you know, it's better now. Things are better now.
We are so glad that you're here. We're so honored. For me, it's a big deal because it's the first time that I actually begged for a female that actually paid off in my life. So I am so happy that this worked. And it was sad. And before we start, I was sad to see on Twitter last night that Jon Ryan is lost.
Oh, yep. Jon Ryan's lost. Yeah, for any listeners in the Bremerton area, it's the cat, Jon Ryan.
No one knows where he is.
But
yeah, a lot of speaking on it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were thought at first when they saw my tweet, they were like, "Wait, Jon Ryan's lost." But no, so this girl that I follow has a cat named Jon Ryan, and her cat's lost. So God bless. If anyone, go to my Twitter, and there's a photo of Jon Ryan. It's a ginger cat, obviously.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, we got a picture up as well.
Yeah. So, someone help find that cat. We can't lose Jon Ryan.
That's a great, but I was very alarmed when I saw that the people who put it up said, I suspect he has another family. And I said, no, John, no, bad John.
I know, it's like if you just read it without looking that it's a cat, it sounds like a Lifetime movie just happened.
It does. It does.
To another family.
But he couldn't possibly. You two are so much fun together. If you don't have Sarah on your Twitter or your Instagram, I am crying almost daily, Sarah, from you. Especially Sarah will do something and she'll turn the camera to John, and John just looks at the camera like, you got to be kidding me, and just goes back to what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm just dying. Absolutely. Yeah.
The Instagram stories featuring John are like, and I don't, there's no plan. I just start doing something, and the minute I pan to him, he's just like, what the fuck? What's happening? So
amazing.
Good sport.
I'm so glad you're here. This is our 179th episode of this show. We're going to keep trying to do it till we get it right. So we're going to try to get this one right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it.
Very well. Let's do this thing.
All right, let's go. The show is run like a real NFL football game. We have 4 quarters and even a halftime. Quarter 1, will catch us up on the NFL news, what NFL news there is. Quarter 2, we'll talk about Seahawk news and possible rumors that are circulating. At halftime, of course, it is the best Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. I refer to 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Of the world.
And I believe that Matt won last show, so he is not here to defend it. So it's wide open, everybody. Oh, and I want to say this. Dustin and I were talking this week, and he was so excited, Sarah, that you were coming on the show. And he said, I'm excited to have her. He said, quote, but she better not win trivia. So
let me tell you something. I won't. And
I appreciate you.
Yeah, it can be trivia about myself, like things that I should definitely know. I panic in any given sort of like game situation. And then I question, even if I think I know the answer, I think maybe I probably don't, and maybe it's wrong. And I just get like, it's the weirdest thing. It's like, I'm just not built for trivia, guys. I don't know what it is.
And again, you'll fit right in. So don't worry about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The many times it comes down to the last question because nobody has a point. So the second half will start quarter 3 and are the Washington Redskins changing their name. We are going to offer up some of our own franchise name possibilities in our first ever 12-Man Fan Jam Show, rename that franchise. And then quarter 4, speaking of not being able to do trivia, we're going to quiz our guests, Sarah Colonna and Colonna Trivia, featuring her own career and that of her husband, former Seahawk punter Jon Ryan. So before we start, we'd like you to like, share, subscribe to Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Also on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Email, 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. Let us know what your thoughts. Also, look for this podcast and download it and past episodes off on Podbean or iTunes. And let's go ahead and get to the first quarter and news. All right, news around the NFL with our news hound Will. It's the 12-Man Fan Jam Show News Report, brought to you by this episode sponsor, the Dan Snyder Redskin Potatoes. Yes, when you have a lot of leftover stickers and you're a wealthy owner that's too stingy to just throw them away, you still find a way to use them. So look for the Washington Redskin Potatoes coming to a grocer near you. They're red-skinned, and they can't sue Dan Snyder. They're Washington Redskin Potatoes. Dallas Cowboy Redskin Potato Masher, sold separately. Will, what you got for us?
Well, coincidentally, Moses, my first item concerns the Washington name to be determined laters.
The TBDs.
Yes, as everybody knows, the name Washington Redskins was officially retired, and unfortunately, their preferred new nickname is tied up with trademark issues.
Oh.
And it turns out that a lot of those issues trace back to a single person, Martin McCauley, who, as of 2015, has spent over $20,000 on the effort to secure trademark rights to alternative names for the Washington franchise. He has secured or tried to secure the following names in recent years. Americans, Bravehearts, Federals, Forces, Founders, Gladiators, Monuments, Natives, Pandas, Pigskins, Red-tailed Hawks, Renegades, Sharks, Veterans, Tribes, Red Tails, and Red Wolves. However, Macaulay says that the reason for the decision to claim the rights to so many names was, quote, I want them to change the name, and I am embarrassed if I did anything that slows that down. I thought if I hoarded all the good names, that would keep someone else who might be a pain in the neck forgetting them. Macaulay has said he's willing to give the trademarks to the team for free. He's reached out to the team more than a week ago and hasn't gotten a response. So
please pick the Pandas. Please pick the Pandas. Please pick the Pandas. Please pick the Pandas. Can you imagine rooting for the Washington Pandas? I would be so embarrassed.
It'd be the Washington Red Pandas.
They have to like change their whole color scheme. Like they'd have to be black and white.
They would. And then have bamboo available in the concession stand. It would just be a mess. And their players, their mascot would just kind of sit there and look, well, like we all do right now at home, with COVID. We're just kind of sitting there eating.
Just randomly keel over.
It'd be much cuter.
Well, yes.
Well, it depends, I guess. But yeah. Please be the Pandas. I hope they reach out to him for the Pandas. I caught about 4 of those names that you mentioned. The Americans, it's funny for the show, Dustin and I were talking about the Americans, weren't we, Dustin?
We were indeed. That's my hometown hockey team in Tri-Cities.
Yeah, because we were talking about Regina, obviously because of Jon. And he said that team was called the Regina.
It was the Regina Pats was their WHL hockey team.
Right. And then you said your team is the Americans. And you got, I thought,
Go Silver Tips.
What Americans, what a name.
Can we just real quick about the Regina, about Jon being from Regina, Saskatchewan, and he went to school there. I don't know if you guys recall this during the Super Bowl, the good Super Bowl, where Jon, at the beginning they have people say where they're from, like what college they went to. Jon was like, Jon Ryan, University of Regina, and he said it kind of fast, and he has a little bit of a lisp. And my God. People on Twitter, USA Today even had to do like a little article where they were like, no, Jon Ryan didn't say he was from the university.
Oh my God, I'm so looking that up.
I'm going to have to go back and find that and watch it.
Yeah, I've got that on.
Look it up. It's like, he says it fast enough that you're like, wait, what? And I knew where he's from, so it didn't reach my brain that way, but everyone else was like, did he just troll the entire world by saying he is from the University of the thing that rhymes with Regina?
Well, we said, I brought it up, and I'm going to bring it up later in one of the quiz questions because I just like saying it. But,
it's fun.
I said, I think they, how the Giants are the G-men. So I think that the University of Regina should be the G spot. I think that should be the name. And the mascot's a little guy in a rowboat in an ocean. I think that should be like their whole thing. But
I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Will, you got another story for us?
Well, I guess that's why Regina rhymes with fun. Speaking of fun, there's a little interesting story involving Pat Mahomes and Post Malone in Kansas City on the day of the Chiefs Super Bowl parade a few months back. Mahomes was giving an interview to Clay Skipper of GQ magazine. Apparently, Post Malone was doing a show the same day as the parade. He invited Mahomes for a visit before the performance. And then Post Malone challenged Mahomes and Travis Kelce to a game of beer pong. It turns out that Post Malone is, quote, pretty effing competitive beer pong player. He kept changing partners in the hopes of beating Mahomes and Kelce and kept losing. Apparently, Malone's manager said that after about 9 or 10 games, it was time to start the show. Malone refused. Was not going to quit until he won a game. After game 14 or 15, they're not exactly sure, Malone asked Mahomes and Kelce to sign their names on a piece of paper, telling them he'd have their autographs tattooed on his body if they beat him again.
Oh, my God.
Which they did.
Yes.
And Malone honored his promise and got Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce's autographs tattooed on his body.
Wow.
That's awesome.
For the record,
that is a good story.
For the record, Clay Skipper asked how many beers Pat Mahomes consumed on that incident. He put the over under at 20, and Mahomes said, "Way over. Half the beers were on my clothes."
Nice.
Is Mahomes old enough to drink? He looks like he's 10.
It's debatable.
Maybe he had a really good fake ID. I don't know.
And I bet Mahomes did some of those shots no look, right? Like he does his passes.
He's using his left hand, throwing it behind his back.
Right, looking at his arm. Yeah. Wow. There's nothing that isn't spectacular about that story, Will.
Post Malone should have called me. He should have called me. Remember, I used to host beer pong tournaments in my house with the soldiers and stuff that I worked with.
You did.
Yeah, I won a lot of money.
You did. There's nothing. What was the name of the reporter again?
Clay Skipper.
Clay Skipper. I love it. Oh my God! Now that's going to be the name of my next dog, Clay Skipper.
He sounds like he's from that place that Andy Griffith's from.
Clay Skipper, Mayberry Times.
Clay Skipper. He's the police. He's the sergeant of the police department, Clay Skipper.
There you go.
And there has to be someone that works under him who's like Tom
Deputy.
Gilligan. It has to be. We have to have that. Skipper. Oh my God, Will, that was beautiful. Whew, I don't think we can top that. So maybe we should go at the end of the first quarter. What do you think?
Story.
Do what?
It's a feel-good story. Is what
oh my
that
gosh,
is.
there was everything about that was beautiful. Thanks, Will, so much for the news.
Anytime, Moses.
All right, that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up on this July edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam show, we rename franchises and we play trivia. But next, we're going to look at Seahawk news right after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
That's the fact, Jack!
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Hey, welcome back to the second quarter of your July 2020 episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam show, using social distancing when social distancing wasn't cool. That's because we're all over the place here. You know, our wonderful guest, Sarah Colonna, is here. Sarah, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you and Jon just celebrated your 4th anniversary, right?
We did, yeah. Last week, yes.
Happy belated.
Thank you.
And more importantly, you were married by Ross Matthews. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ross is for those that don't know on here, I mean, he's a huge Seahawks fan,
Yes.
so I'm sure most of your listeners know him. But yeah, he's a comedian / TV personality / friend. And he was kind of the person he was the person that Jon approached and asked to introduce. Like, he was working on Chelsea Lately with me, and Jon was a big Chelsea Lately fan.
Yep.
He basically approached Ross when he was on the sidelines at a game and said, will you introduce me to Sarah Colonna? I have a crush on her.
Oh.
And Ross was like,
Aww.
yeah, Ross was like, can you do this on the game? And then we'll talk about it later.
I like his priorities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was like, you know what, that's great, but you're going to have to maybe play your game first. And then, it was funny because Ross was like, this guy's going to tweet you. He plays for the Seahawks. I've never heard a word about him. And I was like, some creepy athlete hitting on me on Twitter. No thanks. And cut to, we're married. So it worked out. Yeah. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, Ross, I was a huge Chelsea Lately fan. I should tell you that. I used to watch the show all the time. And
oh, awesome.
And definitely on Celebrity Big Brother, my son and my wife and I watched Celebrity Big Brother. And when Ross was on, we all were like, Team Ross. I mean, we wanted Ross to win that thing so bad.
Oh my God. Jon is a big Big Brother fan, so he got me watching that show.
Yes.
And so we were like, we were obsessed when Ross was on, obviously, and wanted him to win. And I knew when he came out, like out of the show, and was wondering, like, did people make it, like, he was like, was I the villain? And I was like, no, people loved you. And then he won like the audience favorite, whatever. Oh. But side note, the next year, I guess, because I tweeted so much about that show and stuff, they reached out to my agents about whether or not I'd be interested in doing Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, no, absolutely not. And because I love the show so much, but I was like, I wouldn't last a day. I would end up in the diary room crying. about how I hated everyone in the house because I'm not a roommate person, and I'm certainly not a 5 roommate, 6 roommate person.
Oh yeah.
So I was just like, no, I can't. I just end up looking like the worst person either, or just like have a nervous breakdown. And if I'm going to do that, I don't need to do it on TV.
Well, and not only that, but they would deliberately put you with people that would rub you the wrong way on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Just to see what happened. And
totally. Yeah.
No,
so thanks. I was like, oh no, I'm so flattered, and no disrespect to the show. I love it. And I don't even know if it was like a full offer or they were just feeling it out, but I was just like, no, I can't. If I'm trapped in a house with strangers or even people I know, it's for 3 months, it's going to go bad.
Yeah.
Not everybody's making it out alive.
No. And I could never do Survivor without a running toilet. And so Big Brother would have a running toilet, but I'm not pretty enough to be on that show right now.
I would imagine that doing something like that too, if you like it that much, it would kind of ruin it for you in the future if it was a bad experience when you're on it.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And then also I think during Celebrity Big Brother, they give booze, but not enough, there's not enough alcohol in that house from what I can gather. It looks like they really monitor the alcohol, and I'd be like, listen, if you want me to get through this, I'm going to need to be like buzzed all day.
Yes.
I've tried that at work. I was told no.
Right. I mean, if you really think about it, it's basically like what we're going through now. It's basically quarantine.
It is. It really is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
But with dead strangers, and some of who could be insane for all you know. So.
Oh, absolutely. I would like to take this moment before we start quarter 2. And since this worked one time, I'm going to try again. Ross Matthews. Ross, if you're listening, my friend, if you'd like to sit in with us for a show one Friday, we'd love to have you on as well. Speak to your wonderful friend, Sarah Colonna here. What the heck? Begging worked once. Why not give it another shot? Ross, we'd love to have you.
Come on, Ross.
Okay. Thank you so much for that endorsement, Sarah. All right.
That's where Sarah texts or messages him later, says there's this creepy fan that's going to call you. 4 years later, we're talking about Ross and Dennis.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you're going to get a creepy message. Just ignore it.
Just ignore it. Put him on it's act like you didn't get it. All right. Well, hey, we were going to talk Seahawk news. Let's get to it a little bit. There's not a whole lot, but there are some things. First off, I kind of want to skip a little bit here. Interest in Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, who has shown an amazing talent on the field and amazing amount of baggage off the field. But yet Russell's working out with him. And I guess that because there's not a lot to talk about, well, this rumor of Antonio Brown going to the Seahawks just keeps showing itself every once in a while. What are your thoughts here, Will? Thumbs up or thumbs down on Antonio Brown going to the Seahawks?
There's really not enough letters in the words "hell no" for my liking. Just to point out the latest episode in the saga of Antonio Brown. His former landlord, who had already filed a suit against him for trashing a Miami apartment, is now seeking an immediate judgment for $209,000 in damages.
Oh boy.
Brown stopped defending himself 6 months ago, hasn't hired new counsel, was just skipping out on everything. So the drama continues with him, and I don't care how good of a player he is, he's just going to keep getting into trouble until somebody gets the guy help. So, no.
Well, playing devil's advocate, Sarah, our coach has a tendency to bring those kind of guys in, and he doesn't tolerate if they're he gives them a chance. But if they're not going to change, he is pretty quick on getting them out. Does that make it any better, or are we still absolute no on Antonio?
It's a tricky thing because I say no. I find someone who appears to be the word I think is often applied to people like him, like a cancer in the locker room. Mm-hmm. Is it worth it? There's going to be someone else. Obviously, it's very unique to have a certain amount of talent in the NFL. That's why you get into the NFL, right? Because it's small. But you'll find someone else who won't hurt your team and hurt your locker room. And when there's that much drama, and I'm honestly I don't want to forgo anything that he's done in the past, because I kind of forget, but all the things that have been brought up about him. But so I don't want to discount any of those if I'm missing something bigger than that. But I just feel like it comes to a point where, it's weird. It's one thing because Russell is such a great guy and such a great quarterback and such a team, positive force. So his interest in him, it confuses me a little bit,
Yeah, me too.
And I wonder what it is and what's there, and is it about just giving someone that chance? But I do feel like he's had a few of those. So this isn't like the second chance. This is, piled on. Right. And I just sometimes I get to the point where I see other people with so much talent that wouldn't bring negativity and awfulness with them, that maybe that person should get that opportunity to shine,
Yep, I agree.
So you kind
bring
of
Josh Gordon back instead.
There you go. I like Josh Gordon back instead. I think Josh did fine here. And I think that he was really, to me, the thing about Josh Gordon that was concerning was that they removed him from the locker room, which guys like Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett had to be a huge, huge help to him getting over Josh, referring to Josh Gordon. And then they took that away from him. I mean, not only did they get him out of the NFL, but then these guys that were such positive role models around him, they're taking them away from him. And I'm like, oh, this just, it just makes your head hurt because you feel for the guy. But I'm with you. I'd rather have Josh Gordon. Dustin, what are your thoughts on Antonio? Yay, nay?
It's definitely a nay, but probably for different reasons than what everybody else is saying. When I found out he wasn't going to be in the league or he was cut from teams, I thought that was a good thing for him. Just so being in the Army like I was, and then we get briefed on traumatic brain injuries, and then working at a hospital like I do for soldiers, you hear about traumatic brain injuries and the effects it can have on people.
Yes.
And he just doesn't strike me as somebody who's healthy in the head. He's taken a lot of hits, and reading articles and stuff, sounds like he's had personality changes. He obviously doesn't make rational decisions. If it's not a traumatic brain injury he suffered, there's definitely some other type of mental illness type situation going on, it seems like. And I don't think it's healthy for him to be playing football anymore. So I think it would be bad for him to do it. And I'd hate to have him continue on, and then, 10 years from now, we see another Junior Seau situation or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on this show.
Such a good point. So thanks for making that, because I've definitely seen a lot of that too, and failed to make that point myself. So I'm glad you did, because it's a big point. There's a lot of that, and it's not about, hey, that's something that isn't your fault when you become injured in that way. But it's something that other people can keep you from a situation where that's going to be worse,
Absolutely.
So like
we've talked on here fairly extensively about that as well, because I think a lot of us here feel that way, that it's not just that, he's not a bad guy. It's that we feel health, like you said, the traumatic brain injury or something's going on that just isn't right. It's not that, he's just a terrible person. It's not that. It's like there's something going on medically with this guy that I think we all kind of agree on that he needs to check out.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's not getting better.
No, it's not. And then finally, real quick, we talk about Antonio Brown. Here's what I want to ask you. This is the Seahawk Positivity channel. We always try to be positive on here and happy and upbeat. And the last show I asked you guys, are we going to have a season this year? And yes, yes, we are. And we were all rah-rahing about the season. Well, it's been about a month since the last show. So I want to start with Dustin. Dustin, give me a % chance of there's going to be any NFL played this year.
Any chance at all that not like a full season, just that they're going to play a game?
Well, okay, let's go with the full season. % of a full season, and then you can kind of say whatever you want to say, like, 20% chance of this and 30% chance of that.
Well, hell, a full season, I'd say it's kind of 50-50 because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't have enough information yet going into the fall. When flu season starts, you could get hit with the flu and COVID and have all kinds of issues happening.
My goodness.
So I'd say it's 50-50 about whether or not we have a full season. I say they're 100% going to play some games, and we're just going to have to see what it looks like once we get going. Okay. I know working for the Mariners, they're taking precautions. Like, I'm not allowed to be in the locker room with the Seattle Mariners this year unless they absolutely need me. So I'll go to the games, I'll hang out at the stadium, but I can't go down there. I can't get the X-ray machine warmed up and ready to go unless they need me. Right. So they're doing a really good job of minimizing the contact that everybody has with players and whatnot. And I know the NFL is doing similar things. So I think they'll play. I don't know how much they'll play.
Yeah. Sarah, what are your percentages on seeing football in the NFL this year? And what about CFL? Are they doing the same thing?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so the CFL where Jon's playing now, he played there starting last year, and in Regina.
Yeah.
It was they were supposed to start their season's a little bit, it's longer but different months. So they were supposed to start in training camp way back in April, but they were supposed to start playing games in June because it gets so flipping cold in Canada that their season ends end of October, and then they have their playoffs. So right now they're like, we might have, in the very least, we'll have a season starting in September and play like maybe 6 games, and that's it. Now, the thing with the CFL that I think is very different, and the reason they're probably trying to scramble still, even though it's July, and it seems like they should have made a decision by now, is like they don't have, I mean, it's an old league. It's been around for a long time. They have huge fans, but they don't have the TV revenue that the NFL does.
Right.
So they can't really play without fans.
Right.
The way that the NFL can probably get away with a season with no fans and still have, we're all dying for sports, right? So we'll all tune in, and your ads can go to NFL on Fox like crazy, and see, and Monday Night Football and all that. They can have probably even crazier ad revenue than ever. But so I don't know what they're going to do there. It doesn't look good. And then for the NFL, I just, as much as we read about it and hear about it, and obviously talk to the friends that we still have there, it's like, even today, I think they were it came out, they were having a really hard time on some negotiations with the Players Association on health codes and things that they think should work and shouldn't. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's going to, you're not going to avoid some people getting sick. So it's sort of up to what they figure out is worth it versus not. And obviously you can't risk someone's health and what they might bring back to their family. And even though healthy people seem to be less affected, that doesn't make it any better of a decision to just be like, oh, well, screw it. Let's see how it goes,
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I didn't even answer you percentage wise. I just gave a long rambling answer.
That's all right.
But
that's what we normally do.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yes.
But I mean, obviously they already canceled all the preseason games, and so it just feels like it's definitely I don't think it'll start on time.
No.
Would be my guess. And especially since it seems to be rising everywhere, like crazy.
Like crazy.
Yeah. So I would say, it's going to be a shortened thing, if anything. And I just don't think it's going to be with fans, which is so weird for me to think about. Like, especially as someone who, spent years going to Seahawks games, like, and I'm not ass kissing here, just the best stadium in football, just the best fans. Oh, the best. Like, so much fun and that energy and just everything. I just can't imagine not being able to do that, so I just hope
it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, I hope everything is, obviously only what matters is health. So I hope by 2021 that's all worked out so that we can have all that back normal, and I know we will, but this year it just doesn't feel like it's looking great for any of that stuff.
Sadly, I agree with you there. I'm kind of pessimistic about this the longer it goes on. Now, as an educator, I'm also dealing with, do we go back to school or not?
Right.
And, back and forth on that. My school has bumped up 2 weeks to August 6th. We were supposed to go back at the end of July. We're going now August 6th, kids August 12th. That may change as early as, Monday, who knows, with the spikes that are happening. And someone asked me my opinion on this on Facebook, a friend of mine who works for a radio station. He just likes to throw those questions out, see what people say. And so he said, I want to ask you, what do you think? And I said, well, plain and simple, no child or no teacher or no adult, no one is worth risking their lives for an education. And education is not worth the risk. And I kind of feel this way about this. I would just be sick to my stomach if any football player or coach or personnel caught this thing and it wound up being, disastrous. I can't fathom that. And it just, to me, I'm with you guys. We miss it. We'd love to have it. but I just don't know if it's going to happen.
Well, that is another factor to think about, and I'm sure that the NFL has. I haven't heard it talked about much though. Mostly, what you hear about is the players being young and healthy, and it doesn't affect them as much. Those coaches are not. Pete Carroll's what?
Yeah.
How old is he? He's in his 70s now, right?
Yep.
I mean, it affects them a lot harder than it affects the
30s,
players.
so
They're going to be around the
he's
players.
in his 20s.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. My daughter's like, I want to
Chew's
find
gum
out
like
what
a
gummy
20-year-old.
chews
He's
because I
like-
want to send him some.
Right. But
No,
yeah, it's
but I mean, if anyone's like like you're, yeah, exactly. He's so healthy and so spry and everything,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem to,
No, it
we don't know
doesn't.
that matters. It's
No.
like we're still learning so much about this. So, and then, and aside from that, you go, yeah, what are they, who are they going home to, or can they not see certain members of their family? And
Right.
if not, and yes, you can argue like, oh, well, you can't see your mom for 3 months. Well, what if your mom is in a certain situation where you don't know if you're going to get to see her much longer anyway, and then you want to,
Exactly.
there's just so many factors that I
It
think
is.
people, it's easy for people to say like, well, you're getting paid a lot, so you just don't get to see your family for a few months. But everyone's situation is so different and
Yes.
unique that you can't
Yes.
really speak to that,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we're
and for
dealing with-
education, like you said too, schools a really hard thing to try to figure out.
It's a
Opting
no-win
out should definitely
situation.
be an option for any of the players if they want to.
Yeah, that's one of the things they're discussing. The problem is we're dealing with a lot of questions in life and in sports that just don't have any good answers.
Right. So, Will, what is your thought? Are we going to have a season?
My guess, we start late, get about 10 games or so into it. Seattle will be undefeated, running away with the league, and then they'll shut everything down.
There it is. I think that's the perfect answer. When back in '81, I grew up a Reds fan, Cincinnati Reds fan, and back in '81 during the strike, the Reds had the best record in baseball, but they didn't make the playoffs because they had the 2 half seasons play each other, and they finished second place in both ones, but they had the best record in baseball, did not make the playoffs. So I can see that happening. Will, 100%. It would be like a curse.
It just seems like Seahawk luck,
It does.
So, what I mean,
It does. That's the old Seahawk luck. We don't have that with Carroll. We used to have that, waiting for that other shoe to drop. But speaking of the other shoe to drop, I think it's time to drop us off into halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime!
Wow, we are just grinding through this massive July edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. Up next, there are so many answers to so many burning questions. Has anyone seen Sarah's pants? That's
Nope.
a reference to her book. Has anyone seen my pants? Does Dustin ever wear pants during the podcast? All right, all these questions and more will be answered, but right now it's time to take a quick break and have the posse square off against each other in another rousing rendition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia, and that's coming up next!
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Due to self-isolation, the crowd applauding at 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia will be replaced by one lonely man clapping in a room by himself. Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another rousing rendition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia of the world. The game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners, our contestants of the posse themselves, Sarah, Dustin, and Will. And here are the rules presented live because Sarah has never done this before. Sarah, here's how this works. We have 2 rounds of questions. Each question has 3 options. You get a point for each correct answer. The final question is worth 2 points, and if there's a tie, there's a top secret overtime question after that. I remind you, there's no the Googling, no phoning a friend, and please, no wagering. But there is a lifeline. In the first 2 rounds, my wonderful children, Mosette and Little Mo, they took the quiz, and you may ask my darling Seahawk fan children what they think the right answer is. I have their answers, what they thought were the right answers are, but only once in the first 2 rounds you can do that. So let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. the topic for
I
this
feel like,
evening-
hold on, just real quick. I'm just like, I just want to make sure that you're saying that you think your kids are smarter than me, right?
Oh no. In fact, a lot of times I will tell
they're
you
smarter
that
than all of us.
well,
Yeah, I know.
I will tell you that Matt is brilliant at picking the kids and doing what the kids don't answer. So I'm just
Yeah, it's kind of his thing.
yeah.
So there's really no lifeline, is what you're saying.
There's really no lifeline. No, the topic is Seahawk punters. Seahawk punters is the topic. Sarah, would you like question 1, 2, or 3 in the first round?
Okay, and I'm just going to remind everyone I'm terrible at trivia. It doesn't mean I don't love my husband if I don't know the answer.
So what are you saying?
So I'm saying question 2.
Sarah's going with question 2. Will, 1 or 3?
I'll take 1.
Will is going with number 1, and Dustin
Bold move,
is
Will.
going with number 3. All right.
I like
I
to
will
get it
take
over
3.
with.
Yeah, thanks, Dustin, for taking 3. All right, Will, are you ready?
No.
Well, we're going to do it anyway. Here we go. All right, Will, your question is this. Which former Seahawk punter is married to a 6-time Olympic gold medalist? Is it Jeff Googles, Tom Ruin, or Jeff West? Married to a 6-time Olympic gold medalist, Jeff Googles, Tom Ruin, Jeff West. And Sarah, why is John not on this list?
It is weird that nobody knows about my Olympic status. So
I'm a little shocked. You only got 5, that's why.
no, I actually have 7. So
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there you go.
because I had too many.
There's fair.
I had too many.
Too many. Will, do you need the options again?
Yes, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Jeff Googles, Tom Ruin, or Jeff West. One of them is married to a 6-time Olympic gold medalist.
I'll go Jeff West.
Jeff West. Well, little Mo said Jeff West. Mosette said Tom Ruin. You said Jeff West. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It is Tom Ruin. Amy Van Dyken, which is a terrible name, but
Okay.
that poor unfortunate girl. Swimming, 6 medals in swimming.
Wow, good for her.
That's crazy.
Nice.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
There you
Okay.
go. Sarah, here's your question.
Educational podcast.
It
by the
is.
way.
There you
You
go.
always learn something on this show. Sarah,
Probably
your question
nothing you
is
want to
about
learn, but you learned something.
your question is about John.
Of course.
John who? John. Wait, which
John
one?
Ryan. John
Oh,
Ryan.
okay.
Have you met?
Mm.
You may have heard of him.
Yeah, John is the Seahawks' all-time leader in average yards per punt as a punter. What is his average yards per punt as a Seahawk? Is it 43.9, 44.3, or 44.8?
43.9. What was the second one?
44.3, and the last one is 44.8. And I'm glad Dustin didn't get this because he hates decimals.
I'm not a fan.
No, you're not.
I think it's number 2. 44
Number 2.
point. Yeah.
44.3. That's what my kids said. My kids said that too.
And
And neither you got. Close. 44.8. It was the highest one.
oh, well,
Yeah.
see, now I'm an asshole because I said it was the one a little bit lower.
He can't kick that extra yard.
At least I didn't pick the lowest one. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you
God.
just went with the kids to humor the kids. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Dustin,
Yeah.
also about Jon Ryan. John went to the University of Regina, as we mentioned. What's the mascot of the University of Regina? Is it the Cardinals, the Rams, or
dear.
the Tigers? Yeah, where did you think I was going, Will?
I was thinking the hockey team. I'll go
Card-
Tigers. I have no idea. Tigers.
Tigers. Little Mo and Mosette said Tigers.
Boo.
Nope.
Incorrect.
Yeah, it's not. It's the Rams,
That's what I said.
which is sweet irony, I
No.
guess, if you look at it. So, okay.
Oh,
Well,
dear.
no
Oh my
score.
God,
We
if
go
yeah,
to
if
the
you say
second
that real
round.
fast. You say vagina Rams, and then that's not great.
Or
That's
you
the
could
first
ram-
time I've been booed in trivia.
Oh.
It's not the last time.
No, it certainly won't be.
Sarah, 4, 5, or 6?
Oh, 5.
5. Will, 4 or 6?
I'll do 4.
And Dustin, same order.
I'm
Dustin.
gonna go 6.
Oh, thank you so much. You're such a company man.
Taking one for the team, Dustin.
Such
Thanks,
a company
guys.
man. All right, Will. What Seattle Seahawk punter had the most punts blocked in his Seahawk career? Most punts blocked. Jon Ryan, Rick Tootin, or Herman Weaver? Do you remember Rick Tootin? I used to call him Rick Bootin' Tootin. Remember him? Rootin' Tootin?
Oh
Yeah, Tootin was fun.
He was. Hey, God, if that ain't a ball that needs to be punted by Bootin' Tootin.
Honestly, I'm shocked Ruben Rodriguez is not on this list. Because every time he tried to punt, something went wrong.
It's so true. Jon Ryan, Rick Tootin, or Herman Weaver is who I have here.
Well, Herman Weaver's nickname was Thunderfoot, which I think is awesome, so I got to go with him.
It should be it should be Dreamweaver. How's it not Dreamweaver?
I don't know, but you got a guy who's nicknamed Thunderfoot. You got to go with it.
You got to go with Thunderfoot. All right. Well, Little Mo and Mosette, they went with Jon Ryan.
Wow.
But the answer, yes, we got someone on the board.
Well, there's no way in hell I was going to pick Jon Ryan.
For the record,
tell Mo and Mosette they're off my Christmas list.
Well, listen, Herman was 6 and John was 5, so it was close, and then Tootin was only 2. All right. Let's see. Oh, Sarah. Okay, who has the most punts in a season for the Seahawks? Just in a season, was it Jeff Fiegels, Ryan Plackmeyer, or Rick Tootin? Most punts in a season. Fiegels, Plackmeyer, or Tootin?
I'm going to go with Tootin because it's a fun name.
It is. Rootin' Bootin' Tootin. Yes!
Good job.
And I bet Will would have got this because Will would be like, who was the punter in 1992, right, Will? Remember that?
I was guessing it was a 90s punter.
I've tried to repress those memories as best I can.
That 92 offense that broke records for like the least
futility
points in the season. Yeah, futility records. Rick Tootin, 108 in 1992. That's a lot of punting.
It's, you know what? I'll interject just so
Yes.
everyone knows what it's like to be married to a punter.
Oh, please.
Nobody wants to see them,
Oh.
Nobody wants to see your husband come on the field. And then when you start clapping because he comes on the field, people are like, what are you doing? Sorry, I love him. So I'm just clapping. It's going to at least be a good punt. Can't we just be happy?
But let's be honest. Let's be honest, though. John is even now, a hugely popular Seahawk. I mean, it's not even funny how much people love him. And one of my favorite memories, we'll get question 6 here in a minute. One of my favorite memories of all time, non-Super Bowl memory, is him doing the double check and pointing at Rodgers when he throws that ball. Oh, my God.
That
was awesome.
My son were watching that today. We were watching that today, and we both went, oh, my God, I love that part.
He was so happy because he's like, he played with Aaron. He's like, we're buddies. Like,
I knew it.
Fine.
Yep.
And also, that coach cut me, so I got to.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
Hey guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Dustin, question 6. What NFL team did Jon Ryan play for before he joined the Seahawks? Uh-oh.
Oh.
I think we just Was it the Bills, the Packers, or the Dolphins? I wonder.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
And guess the Packers.
Okay. Well, Little Mo said the Packers. Mosette likes Dolphins, but Yes. You all scored in the final round, believe it or not. Isn't that amazing?
I gave that answer away.
That's true. I appreciate the assist.
That's okay.
I mean, you probably knew it anyway, but I'm just going to pretend I gave it to you.
It was all you.
All right. So it is 1 point apiece, and we're all tied, but that's okay because you know what that means? It is time for the final question. Final question worth 2 points. It is a number, highest, lowest. The closest without going over gets the 2 points and will be reigning 12-man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia champion for this episode. The order that we will go in is we will go Dustin first, we will go Will second, and Sarah will go third. So you want to get the closest without going over. If you all go over, it's whoever the closest gets it. And here is the question. Dustin, here's the question. How many total punts did Jon Ryan have in his career with the Seahawks? Total number of punts by Jon Ryan in a Seahawk uniform. How many, Dustin?
Shit. This is math again.
Yeah, it is, but there's no decimal.
Well, at least there's that.
Oh, Sarah, he gets so bent out of shape when there's a decimal involved.
I avoid them.
Oh. Even when I have a sack question, it's either 0.5 or 0. He goes bonkers. Can't do it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those at all.
You're not.
How many punts did he have for the Seahawks? Let's see.
A career. And that was quite a long career, quite a tenure.
Yeah, I know.
Carry the one.
10 years.
I'm just trying to think. There's too much math. I'll say 250.
Too much math. Will,
I was trying to go
250.
3 a game for. Yeah, I can't do it.
Will, what you got? How many punts for Jon Ryan in his career with the Seahawks?
I'll go 576.
That tells me I was way
250,
off.
576. Sarah, how many punts for Jon Ryan in his career with the Seahawks?
Well, that's a tough one for me. Especially since I know he started when they're in the dark. There was days where it wasn't great there.
Oh,
so
yes.
there was a lot of punting.
Oh, yes.
And then there were days when there was a lot. I'm going to say 712.
Ooh, 712. All right. 250. 576.
That was way off.
Someone's way off.
Yeah.
712.
And I think it's me.
Well, the answer is 770. You know what that means? Sarah, smile. You just won.
Oh, man.
12-man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Oh, the world.
Congratulations.
Wow.
How about that?
Nicely
See,
done.
I had to do what you guys didn't want to do. Was I had to really take into account the early years.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
When things weren't great, and you don't want to remember those days.
No.
I wasn't around for them, so I don't care about them.
Fair
So
enough.
it's easy. I just want to win, baby. I just want to win.
I know they happened. I know that Jon told me that his time in Seattle came from really having basically just like nobody seemed that interested to like. There you go. All about me now.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations,
It's a
Sarah.
beautiful
Couldn't
song.
happen to a better posse member. You are our champion for this show. And the one lonely man in the room is applauding you. And this has been another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Other world.
Other world. We'll be right back with the second half of the show. Right after this, Daryl Hall, John Oates, take us out.
Till tomorrow.
Oh, sing it, girl.
Wanna be free.
Yeah, no. All right. That was awesome.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
All right, welcome to the second half and the third quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Congratulations, Sarah Colonna. Wonderful job on trivia.
Thank you. I feel very accomplished as a person.
Oh, it's so much fun having you on the show. I also got to tell you, I talked about Chelsea lately, which I loved. And my wife and I were quite addicted to the show Shameless. We loved Shameless.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great show. Midwest white trash. It was like me looking out my window every day, but
Oh yeah.
but other than that,
I grew up in Arkansas, so I was
there you go.
pretty easy to adapt to my role. And I played a very creepy lady. Which,
You did.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
though.
Lori,
Yeah.
the creepy lady. Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh yes, yeah. It was
I'm a
funny
very
though,
good
just the way
actor.
that you would right away go, "Do you need a back rub?" or whatever. I'm like, "Whoa, okay."
I know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny with that show too, because it's been on. This is supposed to be right now in its 11th season.
Right.
Obviously, they had a little production break with what's going on, but
Right.
I'm like, my episode started in season 9, and my character's so creepy towards
Carl.
the character Carl, yeah. And Ethan, who is the nicest guy in the world, and he's been on the show since he's like 9 years old. I think he's 19 now. So I'm saying this awful stuff to him, and like we would rehearse, and I just look at him and I'd go like, oh my God, because I'd have to slap him on the ass or like rub his shoulders, and I'd be like, I'm so sorry, and he's like, yeah, it's like I'm so used to this. Like I've grown up on this show. he was more comfortable with it than I was because he's like, I've grown up on this show. Like, I know what it is. It's fine. I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, go ask for forgiveness after the scene.
Yeah, it's got to be awkward because when you're doing it, then he gives you a disgusting look, and you got to think, oh my god.
Oh yeah. And there was and I think the one scene they had him say to me like, "Well, you're old," and I was like, "Okay, buddy, let's just not, press on." We don't have to say that. We don't have to do that.
Thanks a lot, man. Oh my god.
No, but like everyone on that show, if you're fans of it, the thing that I can tell you that makes it even more awesome is like, what a cool, awesome cast.
Oh, wonderful.
Everyone on that show from top to bottom.
Love it.
From John Wells, who, is the creator and executive producer, to all the writers in the cast, like just really cool people. So
yeah. And Macy is a bit of a ukulele player. Is that right? Did I hear that?
I never got to see that.
Okay.
I only got to meet him during table reads because I didn't have scenes with him.
Right.
But I did get to go to table reads where he was there, and so I met the whole cast in those.
Wow.
And he was, I know. I was just kind of like, oh, because I watched the show forever, so I was just like, oh wow, I'm in a room with William H. Macy. Like,
yeah.
Okay, no big deal.
When you do something like that and you're in a room with those guys, are you thinking William H. Macy, or are you thinking it's the Gallaghers?
I kind of both, to be honest, because I'm such a fan of the show. So there's like the actor part of me that's like, wow, I'm in a room with these actors that are so talented on Shameless, and the other part of me is like, I'm in the room with the Gallaghers and they're all fucking crazy. Yeah. So, it's like, that's awesome. Sorry for the F-bomb there. Didn't mean to do that.
That's all
right. But yeah, it was cool all around.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that show. Third quarter, we said we were going to talk about the Washington Redskins are finally deciding to remove their incredibly racist mascot and change it. And Will gave us an idea of some ideas first quarter about some possible names. As of this recorded, we don't know what they're changing it to. I personally suggested the Washington Gridlock. I thought that would be perfect and typical of DC. But as the changes are being made, we here at the 12-Man Fan Jam show decided that maybe not just Washington needed to change their name. So as a free public service to you, the viewer or the listener, it is with great pride that we present the first ever 12-Man Fan Jam show, Rename That Franchise. So here's going to work. We're going to round table this. We're all going to come up with either Washington or another team, another franchise out there, and we are going to give a name or change the name. Because let's be honest, like in basketball, they've got it all wrong. The New Orleans Jazz was a beautiful name, but when they moved to Utah, it became the Utah Jazz. That makes no sense. And really, the Los Angeles Lakers are the same way. They were in Minneapolis. The Minneapolis Lakers makes a world of sense. So some of these teams move, or sometimes they just need a change on their franchise. So we'll start with Sarah. Sarah, do you have a franchise name that you'd like to change?
Well, bear with me on this, but sure. I feel like, somebody played for that team for a long time and was still doing really well when he got cut. So I was thinking the Seattle Jon Ryans.
Oh, perfect.
Or like the Sea Ryans or the John Hawks.
Oh, I love the Sea Ryans.
Okay.
The Sea Ryans perfect.
Sea Ryans isn't bad. The Seattle John Hawks isn't bad.
Oh, John Hawks is good too.
Oh, John Hawks is pretty good actually. Now that I said that out loud, I had only thought of the Sea Ryans, but then I said John Hawks, and now kind of like beat myself.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tweet the franchise, let them know.
That is going to have to be at least a name for like a little league football team that you guys coach or something.
I mean, it should be something, right?
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then for the Washington team, formerly known as the Redskins, with all the stuff coming out about them now, I'm like, they're going to have to go through a lot to figure out their team name. I feel like yesterday I was like, maybe it should just be called the Oops,
Right.
Like the Washington things aren't great. I don't know.
The Washington mediocres.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. I feel so bad for like the people on that team because I'm sure they're just like, hey, we play football. We have an identity. And, and like people that work for them and stuff too. And now they're trying to figure out this whole thing. But
the Washington Football Club.
The
Oh yeah,
I
there you
do
go.
kind of like
Soccer
how
out.
like people just refer to them in the news right now as the team in Washington. So maybe But by the way, a lot of people don't know geography, and they think when you say that they're talking about in Seattle.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll give you guys a little fun little nugget of information, and I won't say who it was, actually, because I don't even know. But there was a guy that came to play for the Seahawks that I don't think he was a rookie, and it was several years ago. I don't know, but John, I guess he asked everyone where the White House was.
Oh no!
Yeah. So
That is awesome.
Yikes!
he was confused about his Washingtons. So it happens.
Oh dear! Oh dear!
It happens.
I think Washington should name their team after their human resource department because that's who's going to be putting in the work.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Very true.
The Washington litigation.
Wait, I like just the Washington HRs.
Perfect. The HR. Hey, Dustin, do you have any?
Yeah, I would like to change Dallas's name.
Okay.
They're not America's team. They're Jerry Jones' team. And I think he should name them after his favorite place and go with the Dallas Glory Holes.
He wants some glory hole. Oh. Yep, I think so. There's actual audio of that, Sarah, him actually saying at a press conference, I want some glory hole. Like he wanted the glory hole days, thinking that meant the old days.
Yep.
And I don't know if anyone ever told him.
It might have.
Oh, he was trying to say glory days, and he said
it came out glory hole days, and he said, I want me some glory hole. He actually said that.
Yep.
Thinking I want the glory days back. And the press is going nuts. Yeah.
Why isn't that my screensaver? Like
should be my ringtone.
That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Dustin, you got any more?
Yeah, I got at this point I think we just need to call Kansas City the bank because they're paying everybody.
Dollar signs on the side, yeah.
Yeah, that works. And then this one's this is a cheesy one, easy cop out, but the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, yes. See, I had that one. Okay, I'm crossing out my list. I had the Buffalo Wings.
And then my last one here, it's for the new Seattle NHL team that's coming in. And I am really crossing my fingers and hoping they call them the Kraken just for fun because I know the name of the place is something like where they're going to play something like Climate Pledge Arena or whatever. But nobody would call it that. They'd call it the Crack House. That would be awesome. A ton of fun. And then the fans would be crackheads.
The fans would be crackheads. Had to be. Have to be.
Itself.
Amazing.
The Crackheads is a fun name for a team. For a fan.
And the cheerleaders would be the crack horse, I guess. Dustin.
Terrible.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. Dustin, any more?
No, that's all I got, man.
You can't save me. How about Will? Will, can you save me?
I've got a few. First, I think, you look at New York, they've had some really tough months lately this year. I think they all need a new mascot to rally around, a real viral celebrity. So I say we rename the New York Giants, we rename them the New York Pizza Rats.
Yum. Oh, yeah. And then
perfect.
The mascot would be going down steps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, this was an easy one with some of their signings. The Tampa Bay Expatriates.
I like that.
Patriot going the other way or something.
And you were talking about ironic names with Utah Jazz and LA Lakers. There aren't a lot of Saints in New Orleans. I'm thinking New Orleans Sinners is more appropriate.
Nice.
I like it.
That's nice.
And then finally, I think we need to get rid of the most embarrassing name in the NFL, for the sake of the fans who have to wear this. So instead of Cleveland Browns, let's just call them the Browns.
Nice. Very nice. Well, I have a couple, and I'm an old guy, so a lot of these are going to be references from the 70s and 80s. So hopefully some of you will get this. Probably most of you won't. We're going to start with Tampa.
I was born in the 80s.
Fantastic. I feel so old right now. Tampa Bay isn't a real place, but when I hear Tampa Bay, I don't know why they're not the Tampa Bay City Rollers. I mean, come on.
There we go.
And they'd have to play their games on Saturday night. And you know why? Because this would be their theme song. Saturday night, right?
I mean, it's fun. It's fun. It's
there
definitely
you go.
Fun.
They wear bell bottoms and suspenders like Bay City Rollers. It'd be awesome.
You should play football in
would
bell
work.
bottoms, okay?
Yeah, probably
now you're
not.
just talking crazy.
Yeah, I probably am. Now I'm talking crazy. You're right. Another game. I'm from Indianapolis. I'm from Indy. Or I'm not from Indy. I'm from Indiana. And I live just down the street from Indianapolis and where they play. And, they moved. They were the Colts. That really doesn't fit the city very well. So I think the Indianapolis Corn would be a little bit more accurate because everywhere you look around here, there's corn and basketball. That's all it's here.
And corny jokes.
I think San Diego should have a franchise back. And if they do, I think in honor of one of the most famous mascots of all time, they should be the San Diego Chickens. And then this one, my friend and I came up with a long time ago when the WNBA started. We said there needs to be a WNBA team in Las Vegas. Well, the Raiders have moved there. So if this isn't a perfect name, the Las Vegas Strip. Is that not the perfect name?
Oh, that is great.
That's
Nice.
good.
Wouldn't it be a great name? And you could also use that in New York. You could be the New York Strip because they could be steaks. But
That's good too.
Yep.
I was actually falling asleep while you were reading off your names, and then that one woke me
That
back
one woke you up.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's two more.
That's how we feel with most of his lists.
Basically, that is, again, Sarah, you're fitting right in.
Yep.
The New England
She's a
Patriots.
veteran already.
The New England
Matt's
Patriots.
going to be so proud.
Yeah, he is. New England needs to disappear. They're in Boston. Let's just call them Boston. And they should be the Boston Tea Party. That's the name of their team. Should be. And finally, another musical one, because I know they worked so well before. In Miami, how in the world are you not the Miami Vice?
Vice.
Come on.
Yeah.
The Miami
That one I
Vice.
agree with. And you could have and they could have their uniforms could be like the T-shirt.
Yes.
With the blazer over it. But
Yes!
Don Johnson had?
a
Nice.
jersey.
And the pockets on the elbows.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. It's got to be. And this is their theme song. They come right out. Oh my God, that's perfect.
Well, the uniform sells it. Like if they're just running around like those fake tuxedos T-shirts, but instead it's a fake Don Johnson pink T-shirt, white
be
jersey
perfect.
over it.
Oh my
jersey.
God. And their face masks could look like, Sarah. They could look like a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yes.
Oh my
That's
God.
Also.
Oh, that's amazing. The Miami Vice. I'm glad you woke up for that one. That one's worth waking up
Thank
for.
you. Yeah. No,
Yes.
I mean that really snapped me out of it. I was about to just log off, to be honest.
Well,
but
don't log off because we've got one more quarter left, and that's coming up next. Yes, it's the end of the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
And coming up next, we put our guest, Sarah Colonna, to the test in a quiz made especially for her. You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Wash your hands over and over saying the name of your Lord and Savior. Or don't, whatever. I don't care. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
If there's a better use for the internet, I haven't found it.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Well, here we are. I hate to say it, but it is the final quarter of this fantastic episode 805 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, your place for Seahawk fun. And in this last quarter, we're going to talk about our honored guest, the fabulous Sarah Colonna, and just see how much she knows about herself and her husband, the former Seattle Seahawks punter and current CFL All-Star Saskatchewan Rough Rider punter, Jon Ryan. So it's time for Colonna Trivia. All right, Colonna Trivia, here are the rules, Sarah. There are 6 questions, so 2 rounds of 3 like before. There are going to be 3 about Jon, and there are going to be 3 about you. It's going to rotate.
Okay.
Jon, you, Jon, you. You can ask a posse member, each posse member, either Dustin or Will, up to 3 times. So you can ask them every question. You can pick one every question to help you out. The kids did not take this question, so you're on your own there. And before we came on, I asked you for a charity, and you have a breast cancer foundation called BCRF. Is that correct?
Yes.
So here's what we're going to do. Every time you get a question right, we're going to total it in a pot, and we're going to $10 for each right answer. And we here at 12-Man Fan Jam Show are going to make a donation to BCRF just because you were such a great guest on this show. And we're so thankful that you're here. So it's our way of saying thank you.
Well, that's super nice of you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So here we go. All right. So the questions, here we go. Question 1. And you can ask either Dustin or Will to help you. And you might know this, in what round did the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the CFL draft Jon Ryan in the 2004 draft? Was it the third round or the fourth round? And there's only two options this time. I'm not being crazy with the options. I'm only going to give you two because, we like you. We want you to win some money. So, is it the third round or the fourth round?
I think it was the fourth.
You think it was the fourth? Okay. Well,
I don't like your tone.
That's because it was the third.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the third round. Yeah. But that's all right. We still got a chance here. Question 2 is about you, so hopefully I'll help. It's about the show Insatiable. What television network originally ordered a pilot for the show Insatiable, but then dropped it before Netflix picked it up? Was it CW or Fox?
It was CW.
Yeah.
I know that because it directly affected me.
There you go, $10. $10. All right, well done. This is about Jon. Who was the Seattle Seahawk punter before Jon Ryan? Who did Jon replace? Ryan Plackemire or Rick Tootin?
Oh, shit. Ryan Plackemire. No? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
Yes, we'll take it. That's 20. Good job.
Both the first name starts with an R. I started to panic.
But you got it.
And we didn't like Plackemire, so good riddance.
This is a sad question. I don't like this question because I love this show. When did the final episode of Chelsea Lately air? Poor Chewy. God love
You
it.
like the date?
Oh, I know. Well, no, what's sad about this question is sometimes I'm like, did that... I have a very bad sense of time. So sometimes I'm like, did that show end 2 years ago or 10?
Oh, no.
But I know it was in 2014.
It was. Was it August 26th or August 29th?
I was about to say it was in August, and I thought you would give me like an August or September, and then it'd be a easy one. I'm gonna say August 20.
Remember, you can still ask.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can ask the guys.
Okay. I'm gonna ask. Was it August 26th?
Justin, you must know. So what do you think?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say you should go with the 26th.
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that too.
I think someone's Googling.
But
You didn't say we
you
couldn't
know what?
for this.
That's right. I sure didn't.
Good point.
And that's because we're doing this for a good cause. So $30 so far in the pot.
We got your back there.
Question
I love you
5.
guys.
When Jon Ryan threw a touchdown pass to Gary Gilliam in the NFC Championship, which is one of the most amazing scenes of all time in Seahawk history,
Super hot.
Yeah, oh yeah. He became the first Canadian to throw a touchdown pass in a playoff game since what player? Jesse Palmer or Mark Rippon?
This one's on you, Will.
I know it because I looked it up and obviously heard about it, and now I'm on the fence of which I think it's Jesse Palmer, but should I like double check with Dustin?
I would double check with Will.
I think you should double check.
Okay, Will. So it seems like maybe it's not who I said. What do you think?
It's the obvious answer, but I've got to go with Mark Rippon here.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? If we have to go with Mark Rippon, I say we go with Mark Rippon. Yeah, that's the answer.
It's always good to go with Mark Rippon.
Yeah.
And that's why, because that's right.
His daughter played for the Seattle Mist.
She sure did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Quarterback.
Awesome. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, did Jesse Palmer ever play in a playoff game?
I don't think he did.
I thought
It
Jesse
was hard
Palmer
for
was
listen.
a golfer.
It was hard for me to find Canadian quarterbacks. I'm just going to be honest with you. So Jesse popped up. I said, there you go. That's one.
I thought Jesse Palmer was like a character in Scandal.
Yeah, or like a
Wasn't he a bachelor? Was he a bachelor one year?
Maybe. And I think that's why I was going with that. Because
Yeah.
I was like, that person seems like they do something cool.
Jesse Palmer rode into town. The last question, Sarah, about you. Who was originally set to star in the TV show Shameless? Was it Woody Harrelson or Tim Robbins?
Woody Harrelson.
And so I know this one off the top of my head too.
Yes! Woo-hoo! Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
You got $50 for your charity. But I tell you what,
Awesome.
well, we're so thrilled you're here. We're going to bump that up to the full 60. So you got $60 for your charity.
I'll match it too.
BCRF. Oh, that's awesome, man. We're just so grateful that you're here, Sarah. You have some things that you want to share with the audience before we sign off here.
Well,
where they can find you.
Yeah, well, I will, but I want to thank you guys for donating to a charity like that. You didn't tell me in advance you'd be doing that, and that's very sweet and cool and awesome. So they didn't even coax me on here with charity, guys. I just came on here.
Did not.
Just came on here because I was bored, and
We'll take it.
ended up getting money for charity. So this is cool. No, but thanks for that. It was super fun, and follow me on at Sarah Colonna and Instagram. I'm at Sarah Colonna 1. The number 1 because someone got there before me, and live comedy is obviously on hold right now, but any dates that I am rescheduling are on sarahcolonna.com. I'm supposed to be in Spokane in August, but I'm not sure if that will end up happening or not. Obviously everything's up in the air, but in the meantime you can watch Insatiable on Netflix, seasons 9 and 10 of Shameless, and I have 2 books, and you can get all those through my website, sarahcolonna.com.
Wonderful. Well, we are so glad you were here. Unfortunately, it does look like it's time to finish another 12-man Fan Jam show. We're so glad everyone joined us. We hope you laughed a little, in this case a lot, I think, and you learned a little something along the way. We learned so much. We learned that Washington Pandas must be the new mascot. We learned that Regina is fun to say, and we learned so many other things, just too many to count. On behalf of our wonderful and gracious guest, the fantastic Sarah Colonna, my partner in crime, Matt, wherever he may be, our newshound Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, wherever he may be, Dustin as the Beaver, Roger Goodell, Moset, Little Mo, Jose, Tom, Mark, Ty, Turner, Mike Pascal. This is Moses saying until next time, as always, go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Ross Matthews, you're next.